Now, the Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. What's up?
What's going on?
It's going. You were giving me a show recommendation
Yes.
right before the show.
I was, yes.
Fallout?
Amazon.
Amazon?
It's based off a video games franchise, but it's really good. I think you would like
Nuclear war
it.
occurs?
Yes. Yeah.
All I've seen of this is a clip of a guy with a very strange nose on his face.
Yeah. So
Is he
there
a
are
bad guy? I assume he's a bad guy.
No, you don't know that.
All right.
Those
No spoilers.
Those
I
are
really
called
do.
ghouls,
Oh, okay.
and those are people that got exposed to radiation,
But somehow survived it?
and they actually can't die.
Oh.
So this guy's been
Ever?
alive for like 200 years.
Oh, I like that.
So he's seen a lot.
Yeah, I bet
And you'll
he
find
has.
out about his real life before the bombs
Oh.
dropped.
Uh-huh.
Really good. Like,
Okay.
really good. Really, really, really good.
All right.
Yeah. It's a little quirky, but I think you'll actually like it.
How many episodes is this?
I want to say it's 10, and they're all like an hour each. It's like
Okay.
HBO level production, too.
All right.
Like, it's really good. But the premise is, this is in the games, too, is there are people that are put in vaults once the bombs are dropping so they can be protected.
Mm-hmm.
And each vault has its own way of life. And so you figure out what the ways of life are. But usually, somehow, some way, people want to leave the vault eventually, but because they've been in the same place for literally hundreds of years. And it's just, somebody that doesn't know how the world works gets put on the surface.
Got it.
Things happen.
All
Really
right.
good. Really good and enjoyable.
Well, I got one for you.
Okay,
It's
what's
called
that?
Baby Reindeer.
Okay, I've never even heard of that. What is that?
Okay. It's disturbing. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's trending.
Understood.
It is based on a true story of a struggling comedian / bartender in
Okay.
Europe who gets stalked by this overweight woman.
Okay.
Who just kind of initially just takes a liking to him and then full on stalks him, emails him 8,000 times a day.
What's the
won't
Stephen
leave
King
him
book
alone.
where the author is stuck?
That's Misery.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, a little bit like that, kind of.
A little bit.
Okay.
And the actress who plays the stalker's amazing in it. Okay. Amazing in it.
All right.
But where it's original and gets really twisted is the main character who's being stalked is a troubled person. See, so the whole setup is like you feel bad for this guy initially, and then you learn about him, and you're kind of like, not that you feel bad for the stalker, but there's kind of no hero here.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
All right.
So this is good. But I will tell you, it's very disturbing.
Okay. All right.
Like there's full-on sexual violence.
Got it. Okay.
So there's some very disturbing scenes in it. So you got to be prepared for that.
Okay.
Because initially, first it's kind of funny, then it's dark, then it gets weird. It's still really good. Then it gets complicated. And then some terrible things happen.
Got it.
And so you just got to be prepared for terrible things are going to
The
happen.
content warning is what you're saying
Yes,
there.
total
Okay.
content warning.
Got
But it's very good.
Okay.
Very,
I'll check that
very,
out.
very good.
I
Baby
haven't-
Reindeer.
I haven't watched a Netflix show in a long time. They have not.
I don't think they've been high on the list of
They haven't.
Yeah, they have not produced the award-winning stuff lately.
No, I
That's
think
been rare.
I think literally the last thing I watched was Quarterback was Netflix, right? Yeah,
Quarterback was.
But before that, I was like Stranger Things. That was like 3 years
Stranger
ago.
Things.
2 or 3 years ago
Yeah,
at this point.
Stranger
so, yeah,
Things.
That's the one I fire up the least, I think.
In recent years, like HBO's had Succession,
Yep.
and Amazon's had a couple of good ones.
Yep.
FX had The Bear, which got all the awards.
Yep.
So yeah, they've been lagging behind a little bit.
Yeah, well,
lagging behind.
because even Netflix doesn't have ones that I even like to throw on. Like
Yeah.
I'll throw on the Wrexham show. Like I don't
Yeah.
pay attention closely to it, but I'll throw it on.
I got through some of it.
Yeah.
It got to be too much after a while. It was just kind of like, I don't like this story for 10 episodes. A few was actually very cool to see what was going on. And then at that point, I lost the care about the storyline, honestly. Like, I didn't care if they succeeded or not. They did, and I didn't anymore.
I thought I was going to be out this third season, but they start off in the preview by going, it's what's his name? Ryan Reynolds turning to Rob, and he goes, "So, Rob, what'd you say at the beginning of the season to these guys?"
Yeah.
And Rob just kind of looks down and goes, "I told our team we'd take them to Vegas if we got promoted." And then it shows them in Vegas just
there you go.
going nuts.
So I like that.
Yeah, so
I
like
like that.
they don't even try to hide it this time around, that you know what happens at the end of the
Yeah.
season. So I'll probably toss it on, but yeah.
Let's see.
Baby Reindeer. I'll write that one down.
Baby Reindeer. It's unique. It's very unique. You think you know what it's going to be about as it's going, and the woman who plays the stalker is great.
Okay.
Right. So And this is like, and sometimes I think like people, like you laugh at the idea of a stalker to some degree. You won't laugh at her.
Oh, okay.
She's a very serious one.
Got it.
Like you will not laugh at this. Like she's an interesting character, but and like when the police get involved, they're like, this is a very serious woman is the way that they put it to him. They're like, so we need to be very careful here. She's a very serious woman. All right. Let's see. Last night we had the first collapse of the NBA playoffs where the Bing Bongs thought for sure night was over, series done, FMB'd, let's move on. And then Maxey had one of the all-time great finishes for a team, took over for them. Embiid just handed him the ball and was like, go ahead, do what you do. Had a crazy 4-point play, which was, honestly, I don't know how Robinson is out on the perimeter guarding him in that moment. So that's a mistake. Somehow that happened. And then he did a logo 3 to send it to overtime. And then the Knicks, bizarrely, didn't call a timeout with 8 seconds left and ran the ball up the court and didn't even really get a good look at the end. Like, that didn't make any sense. They had a timeout left, so I don't even know why they didn't use it. Bring the ball up 3/4 court, run a play with 7 seconds left. I think you could have drawn up something and gotten a better shot than Brunson taking it out of bounds from the backcourt and bringing it up. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So they got what they deserved.
Right. Yeah.
They got what they deserved. Like, they're up 6 with under a minute to go. Place is going berserker. So Maxey gets lucky and gets a 4-point play, albeit, like, I don't know how Mitchell Robinson's on him.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, like, why is he there? Like, how would that... Who lost Maxey, right? Like, how would he be there? So I don't blame him. Like, he got caught up by a wily guard. Like, he's not going to stop it. And then, of course, he hit the Caitlin Clark shot, send it into overtime. And what are you going to do? And then, I don't know, like, compound that with the Knicks' decision to not call a timeout. I just feel like they got what they deserved last night.
No, that's fair. I think that's more than fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what... They could have handled any of those situations. Well, not the Maxey hitting from the logo. I mean, that just... Whatever. What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously the hot takers today are all like, he's the new face of the NBA. And I'm like, no, he's not.
No, he's not.
Jalen Brunson was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, like, let's just stop
Anthony
that.
Edwards, actually, but...
Will the Bing Bongs blow this? No. I don't think so, actually. I don't think
so either.
I don't think so. Embiid clearly is running on fumes.
Yeah.
Like, in so many ways. He clearly is. And I saw people hitting him up like, when it looked like they were going to lose, like, here he is in another elimination game. And I'm like, are you kidding?
That guy's been by himself the whole time, essentially. He had Harden, who Harden is the most inconsistent player in the playoffs. And
well,
who?
He 3 weeks ago, they weren't sure he was going to play.
Right, exactly.
Like, here he is playing. He scored 50 points in a game. He's got Bell's palsy.
Right.
Like, give the guy a break for a
Besides
second.
Harden, who's been his other major superstar?
Maxey has turned into it.
No, but like before this year.
Well, it was supposed to be Ben Simmons.
Right, but he turned into a shell of a basketball player. Like,
he didn't work out.
Yeah.
That's a classic. He didn't work out.
Right. Other than that, like it's him and Harden. And like I said, Harden, we don't know which Harden's going to show up in the playoffs. So, like I'm not knocking that guy.
Yeah. So that's 3-2 now. I already have a couple Knicks fans freaking out because they're worried.
PTSD.
Yeah, and like if you look at their team, like what I love about them, and I think this is why they love them up there. Those dudes play hard.
Right.
They play defense. That's Tibbs. He plays deep. He plays defense. And when you buy in, they can be one of the best defensive teams. And, you know, they need to be because just think about what they throw out on the court on a nightly basis. Who's scoring for them? Who do you count on scoring for them every single night?
Right.
So Brunson can get his, but everybody else, it's hard to come by. It's not easy. There are going to be droughts with them. They have some laughable misses in games because they don't really have pure scorers outside of Brunson, you know? And so I look at them and I go, if they blow this, they will do something rash in the offseason.
Right.
And they will try to get Durant, Booker, LeBron, somebody. They may try to anyway, but they will feel the pressure to do it. If they win this and move on and get a little closer, they may still feel the need, and those players might be more apt to try to go there. But I don't think that they're going to feel the, oh my God, desperation move to do one of those things.
Right.
But, you know, there's nothing more fun than seeing the Bing Bongs freaked out that they're going to blow a 3-1 series lead to a team that looks kind of dead in the water because their best player, Embiid, is running on fumes.
Right. Exactly. I needed to look up because game 6 is in Philly tomorrow.
That's right. How many Knicks fans are showing up to that?
That's what I want to know.
Did Embiid get the Philly fans to show up tomorrow? That's the big question. After he basically outed them and said, hello, you're like, where are you guys?
It's going to be a takeover again. Get-in price, $177.
So all the tickets are available.
New York fans are going to overrun that place again.
I'll tell you what, though, they're going to be feeling it if they lose somehow.
That's fine, but they're.
I think the Knicks are going to win one of the next two. I do. Like, they should have won last night. I think they're going to win one of the next two because I just think the Sixers are a little out of gas. And Maxey doing that again.
Tickets are available.
Oh, yeah. All right, so there's going to be a lot of Knicks fans.
There's going to be
a ton of Knicks fans in there again.
That's the most tickets I've seen for a Game 6 playoff game in any sport in a long time.
Yeah.
What is with this? What is with
Thousands
Philly
of
fans?
them. There's thousands of them available. Wow. All right, so it might be a takeover again. And then if they win there, and they're going to, oh, God, there's going to be fights there.
Yeah. That parking lot's a war zone.
Yeah. That one, remember the Caps Flyers thing?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I'd go to that because if we win and their season ends, there's people aren't going to be very happy.
Right.
And then after the last one where they showed up and screamed FMB in the concourses the whole time, going up there and doing it again, if you eliminate them, that's not going to go well.
Phillies are off, so no dual parking lot there. No dual parking lot situation.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm taking my kid for that life experience tomorrow. Either way, I don't know if I'm taking that because if they lose, you're going to hear it from them about how you guys are going to blow it and choke. And if they win, there's going to have to be a sacrifice to the gods. So I'm a little concerned about tomorrow up there.
I'll tell you why, too, people are going to show up to that from New York. The get-in price for the possible Game 7 is already sitting at $613.
Yeah.
So the price of a literal getting in the door and a train ticket or gas is cheaper, a third cheaper, or two-thirds cheaper than getting into your Game 7 at MSG.
Yes. All right, so Philly somehow wins. Maxey gets a moment of the playoffs so far, hitting those two shots late, getting them in there. It's the Knicks' fault. They blew it.
Yes. Yeah, they blew it. The Knicks lost that game more than the 76ers winning that game.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun to watch. And Jon Stewart's face was great. And some of the other celebrity faces were great. Tracy Morgan was giving, I think, Maxey the finger. I think he gave him the finger. So that was pretty good. I hope we get Game 7 actually in the Garden. That'd be really fun. But I'm still leaning on, I think the Knicks are going to win the series. I don't know who's beating Boston at this point in the East because the Sixers, if they somehow get through, feel like they're a little out of gas and probably don't have enough offense to beat them at this point. If it's the Cavaliers or the Magic, you're not buying them to beat Boston, right? Whoever, you're not.
Play the song.
You're not buying them. Like either, maybe. If the Pacers aren't beating Boston, like they couldn't even eliminate Milwaukee last night. Milwaukee didn't have either one of their guys.
Who does the winner of Knicks 76ers play? Do we
know? I gotta look. I don't know. Well, the Knicks are the 2 seed, so they would play. Well, it's not going to be Milwaukee. It wouldn't be the 3 seed. It'd be probably Indiana. So they're going to get the Knicks. The Knicks would get the Indiana-Milwaukee winner, right?
They would. Okay.
I believe so. I think that's how it still works.
I was just going to throw out there
because the Boston should get the winner of Orlando and Cleveland because that's the 4-5.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
they don't reseed, right? I don't think they reseed.
They do.
I don't think.
Sorry, the Wizards haven't been in the playoffs long enough that I don't know.
I can't pay attention. If you've changed the rules, I need a memo because we haven't been there long enough to know. But if it's traditional, it would be Cleveland or Orlando will play Boston, which. If it's somehow Orlando, feels like a joke.
Right.
But, if it's Cleveland, I'll half hear out Donovan Mitchell could have a couple 45-point games and they could be in trouble against them.
I was just going to throw out, that's what I was going to throw out there was Don is the one you got to worry about if you're the Knicks because all of a sudden if he's playing in New York. And
honestly, if Cleveland played the Knicks, I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland won that series. The Knicks don't have a lot of big primary scorers, which I think is the problem, and ultimately they're going to have to alter, I think, moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's see. Milwaukee won last night, albeit at home, but how more silver platter do you have to have something?
That's got to be such a worry if you're the Pacers and their fans.
If those dudes come back and play,
Did you see the stat last night? The Bucks were the literal first team ever to win a playoff game without their 2 leading scorers.
I believe it. Going in, I was laughing at the odds. I was like, the series odds, you get odds on the Pacers to win this? You know Giannis isn't playing? How would that even be? And then once Dame got hurt, that's, as Robert Saleh would say, free money.
Free money, yeah.
Until they go up there and lose. And if those guys don't play, I assume they win Game 6. Like, I assume that, but I don't know. Like,
apparently Bobby Portis Jr. is all you need.
This is not a very this is not a very good sign for them moving forward.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
That they don't have the kill strike in them.
I should have known last night.
Because like, how more silver plattered could it possibly have been than last night?
I should have known last night too. Pacers were only favored by 4 in that one, and I was
something
like,
wasn't right about that.
That's low. Pacers all day, baby.
Right.
And no. blown out. Held to 94.
That's the other one. Like, it wasn't even close.
Right.
Like, that's, I don't know.
112-94, I think was final.
Yeah, this is a classic. These guys haven't been here before.
115.
And I was like, yesterday I'm kind of like, I think the thing they got going for them is Rick Carlisle's been around the block. So it's like, they've got the right coach to like get through this, but we'll see now. So they'll go back home and we'll see what they got.
Yeah.
Cavaliers won by a point. Can't play the song today.
God, that's the best series. That's the best series in the first round.
I can't believe it. I don't feel like it matters. I guess because are you picking whoever wins this is going anywhere? Like, I don't feel that way. I feel more inclined to believe Cleveland could if they got the right matchup.
I almost feel like the Magic are more dangerous against Boston because Boston's going to be like, oh, we're going to beat them fine. And they could like nut punch them in the mouth once or twice.
Maybe.
But like it would still be a 4-2. It'd be over in 6. I mean,
I don't know if we're playing the song that much in that series. I think Boston crushes them. Like I don't.
You don't know.
You don't know. Right. We don't know. Cavaliers won last night, so they're up 3-2 and bararily won. So this one was at least close.
Yeah.
Nice
I hope that
block
goes
at
to
the end of the
7.
game.
I hope that one goes to 7.
Mobley had a great block at the end of the game.
Yep.
Gus Johnson was calling that last night. I haven't heard Gus call NBA basketball in a while. The other thing that's going on that I want to bring up is, all the TNT and Turner people showed up at one of the games last night on purpose because they are trying to keep the rights to the games, and everyone seems to believe that Amazon's going to come along and offer some preposterous package and be able to stream every game live, or all the ones that they want to, which will make me question things like Monumental Sports Network, regional sports networks everywhere, all these, like, how diluted is everyone else going to be if all of the games, like Apple got all the MLS games, it's a smaller league, obviously, not by much actually anymore.
I was going to say there's a lot of teams in MLS
but
now.
Basically every game is on Apple, and they have select broadcasters that call all of the games. And I wonder if we're heading in that direction if Amazon gets this, if we're heading in that direction, that you don't essentially have home team calls, which is possible. Like, that's a possible outcome. Maybe they'll do both. Possibility. Like, they'll just allow this to be both, but maybe not. But the Turner people showed up because their juggernaut is not just having the games, but they've got the best pregame show and postgame show in sports, in my opinion, with Chuck and Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie Johnson. And so there's a lot of what's going to happen to that.
That's right. Right. Exactly.
Chuck already stated publicly, if we don't have the NBA rights, I can get out of my contract. So he's already saying, I'll go wherever.
And he got the reworked deal, right? When all the live stuff was coming along. Remember?
He did. They wanted him to do that. He didn't really want to do that. As you may notice, the coverage of live is, non-existent.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Correct.
They've spent a lot of money on something. This is what I thought would happen from the get-go. They're going to spend a lot of money on something. They're never going to receive the return on investment. Let's just see if they freak out the PGA Tour enough. They went and got David Faraday. They paid him like $1 bazillion, more than he was making on the Golf Channel. Do you even hear about it? No. So Chuck did the right thing. He just eked out more money for the stuff that, he gets to be seen and actually talks about. And the reality is, like, what does he really know about professional golf? Really, probably
nothing,
not that much.
But he's used it for leverage.
He used it for leverage. Will the TNT show go away? Will they lift it and take it to Amazon?
So that's what I think, actually. Like, I saw a lot of tweets yesterday of just generic fans, but, some of it was gaining traction of just like, I don't care where the games are as long as these guys are together. And if you're Amazon, you're probably seeing that going,
this is unbelievably rare, by the way. Like, let's just say CBS lost the NFL contract or Fox lost the NFL contract. There is nobody who would sit there and go, we have to have the NFL Today.
No, God, no.
As much as I like, no offense, I like those shows. Or if ESPN lost Monday Night Football, nobody would be like, we have to have Monday Night Countdown.
Right.
It's the only one like this. And this is the one where I think the NBA fans en masse will go, this has to exist somewhere.
I agree, yeah.
And it has to be around the games. It can't be just on Turner, because if the games aren't there, we're not going to be watching them.
Right.
So I wonder if Amazon, and probably those guys are pumped about that.
Oh, duh.
Because if Amazon comes along and wants that, they're all getting massive raises.
It's $1 billion buy.
And I got to tell you, if TNT loses this contract.
Oh, yeah.
Go buy your TNT merch. It's going to be a thing of the past, because there's only so many episodes of Law and Order that I'm watching from here forward on that.
NHL at least.
Oh, that's right. They do have
their
the NHL.
Their NHL coverage is actually pretty good.
They do have the NHL.
It's Henrik and Bizenet's on there sometimes too. And
that's right. Gretzky's
on there too. I keep getting their set looks very similar to the ESPN one, so it blends for me. But yeah, no, they've actually got good NHL coverage.
All right. So I think that show exists. It's the only one that I can think of that would ever be the fans go, that comes with us.
I could see
ESPN trying to get it.
I could see that. I could envision a world, though, where Amazon and TNT not partner, but they let them use them. They obviously get paid, but for Amazon has to do the thing that is hard to do, where you have to make a link to the people that don't stream stuff. That's actually a good way to go about it, and just say, we're going to pay you, but hey, it's beneficial to us if these guys are on cable television to get people to watch more of them on our platform.
And you keep airing a game there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You get 1 or 2 games a week or something like that.
Yeah, you keep airing the game
there. I think that's actually... We're in a weird realm now, too, where people do multiple things now, and I think that's actually... And then you can also contract out, it just originates out of that studio, whichever one it is. I think that's actually the smart way to go about it. That's the weird thing about the Amazon NFL thing is there are people that still don't know how to find that thing, and we're about to be on year 3 of Thursday night games on Amazon. I think it's beneficial to them to actually, kind of have a link there that people can then go.
I think they need to go there.
Yeah.
The other thing, I'm going to talk about LeBron in a minute, but J.J. Redick interviewing with Charlotte, and then all of a sudden, I've seen a lot of people put this, because he's shown up on a lot of different things lately, and specifically has shown up with LeBron on things. Right. And maybe some of that is just LeBron prepping for a future, probably in sports media. He's already done this in many different ways, but it was an interesting choice to do a show with Redick. I haven't heard it yet, but I've heard it's very good and very basketball nerdy, which is different than what LeBron has done, where he's done more cultural shows like The Shop and things like that. And then I saw a lot of conspiracy theorists suggesting that he's actually priming JJ to be his next head coach.
That wouldn't shock me.
Ham and bring in Redick, because he already has the relationship with LeBron. LeBron's going to dictate literally anything he wants to happen here.
Right.
So much so that he might get the team to draft his son. He might handpick the coach. He probably could handpick any trade that can be accomplished. That would take the other team playing along with it.
Sure.
But he is in full ownership mode if he actually pulls that off, which I was I saw the tweets and I'm like, does that make sense? Yeah, it does. I have a feeling the Lakers are going to do literally anything he asks of them this offseason. And if that includes J.J. Redick as my new head coach, they will do that. And if that means drafting his son to play for J.J. Redick, they'll do that too.
Right. You're right, because I've been seeing more of JJ as well. He was on Ryan Clark's podcast too, that one.
He's popping up all over the place.
I mean, granted, he's ESPN, right? So there is that connection there. Yes. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I've definitely seen way more of him than
he's popping up all over the place lately. So I saw the conspiracies of that he would end up going to LA to be the next head coach of the Lakers.
LeBron sucks at hiding that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. that guy dictates everything he's about to do.
You know, like anything else. Once someone else shows that interest in you, then all of a sudden it becomes credible. Yeah. So now that it's come out that he's interviewed with Charlotte, this is kind of like the thing. Who's the quarterback coach now that Houston almost hired right out of the NFL?
McCown.
Yeah, Josh McCown. And everyone criticized them.
Yeah.
But look, he's coaching now. He's coaching now because they gave him the credibility of basically saying, we're interested in this guy. And then all of a sudden he got the interest. Charlotte saying they would hire him, all of a sudden, I think, gives the credibility to LeBron to say, well, maybe we could do it.
Yeah.
And this isn't actually that unusual in the NBA. Ex-players are doing it all the time, and soon after retirement, ex-players are doing it all the time. So I think it's Possible.
I think that
And
makes
he's
sense.
one of those guys, I don't know whether he'd be a good coach or not, but when I do watch him on TV, I'm like, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's one of those where I'm like, he's not just, blowing wind. Like, I listen to him and I'm like, well, that guy knows what he's talking about. And he sounds like, and it's funny when I see him on First Take, he gets frustrated when he has to do the dumb conversation. He hates it.
Yes.
He wants to talk
he
the
loathes it.
He
Yeah.
wants the real conversation. The fans don't want that, which he loathes, but like, he's so ready to engage Stephen A. in a real basketball conversation,
Right.
which he'll never get on that show, which frustrates him. So when he does do the real conversation, I'm like, he's like Hubie Brown. I'm like, oh, that guy knows exactly what he's talking about. Yeah.
The one clip I saw of him was actually really funny. Did you see what he talked about on Ryan Clark, or Ryan Clark was grilling him about?
No.
He was like, JJ, let me talk to you about your career high game. He's like, your career high is 40 points. You did it on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. JJ's like, I can't say anything right now.
That's
Like,
funny.
I can't do anything. He's
That's
like,
funny.
it was against Houston. We hated Houston. He's like, I'm just saying, though, did you, like, wake up on MLK Day and just decide you were going to drop 40 that day?
Yeah. That's
Like,
I'll show you.
The rest of them are grilling him about it. And
Yeah.
JJ's like, you guys know I can't say anything.
What do you want me to say about this? I can't win. Like, I can't win. What am I going to say about it?
And like one of their other hosts is like, yeah, and then you score your 40th point and you point to the sky, and we're all like, bro, come on.
Yeah. I've gone full Stephen A. here because up next, I have a lot of ideas of where LeBron ought to go. So I can't. I don't know.
Shanghai Sharks.
I don't know how I landed in this space, but today I
That
landed
Greece
in this space.
team that Noon's playing for.
Those were good jerseys. The one with the Parthenon on the front of the jersey. It's pretty amazing.
I mean, that puts our jerseys to shame, honestly.
Should we have the monuments on our jerseys
That'd be
somewhere?
badass. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Like anyone in specifically or all of them?
You put like the skyline in order. Yeah, I think you could do that.
So you'd have the Lincoln, Jefferson, Washington, White House, Capitol.
I guess, yeah. Capitol. You gotta have
Capitol.
the Capitol. You gotta have the Capitol.
Not the
on
White
there.
House.
Not the White House. We don't need the White House.
But
But you do it in order of them all, like where they're
which
situated.
team should be the first to do that? The Capitals?
I think the Wizards, because they change the jerseys every year. So if you hate it, it's gone after a
But
year.
let's see. The Capitals have the name written out.
Yeah.
You could kind of skyline it above the
50th
name.
anniversary next year.
They could skyline it above their name.
They could.
That would kind
They
of
could.
work. The Wizards, I don't want it on the boundary stones. That's not
Well,
good.
that's dead now. It's over.
It's over with?
Yeah. It's 1 year and done.
Because those
That's the
things-
problem. That's the
thank
problem.
God. Thank God. That was a bad one. It really was. Sorry,
loved it.
guys.
I loved it.
I hated it. I thought I was at a Renaissance fair when I looked at them. It was ridiculous.
Just
looking.
remember, it was made
Yeah.
because of Virginia.
I was like, where are the wenches with my giant turkey leg? Well, I watch The Wizards.
The medieval times was.
Yes, the medieval times Wizards. All right, I'll be right.
Wait. Just because you're on the subject of uniforms. I told you about my hot take about every team in the area, right? We should not be wearing white jerseys. We should be wearing marble jerseys.
I agree with that. That should be our white.
Nike-
I 100% agree with
Nike
that.
can do it. Nike
Yeah.
does all the jerseys now.
Well, they did. I forgot what the color was they did for the Rams, but it was called Stone or something
Bone.
like that. Bone. And it was
like a cream.
yeah, it was like kind of that off-white. So they can do it.
But
for
Nike
sure.
did it. The Wizards wore the first 2 years of the district jerseys. They had a side panel that was marble, and I was like, why isn't the whole jersey marble?
Yeah.
That's what every away team or every white jersey here should be. That or the numbers.
Yeah, marble. I agree.
Like
That'd be us.
no one has that.
I agree.
It should be ours. And Nike does all the jerseys for all the teams now. So why do we not have that?
But they'll be see-through.
Well, you saw that, right? They finally had to get thrown under the bus. MLB was like,
Took them long enough.
yeah. Bigger names.
It's
yeah,
May.
No, duh. Yeah.
It's May, guys.
Who didn't see this coming?
Yeah, I'd like America not to look at my dong anymore, okay? I'm trying to just play baseball here.
Right.
Like, come on.
The funniest was seeing like the Yankees players sweating through their jerseys
Yeah,
last month.
that's right.
Summer
Yeah,
hasn't started
I
yet,
know.
guys.
It's like, come on. All right, I'll be right back. Bram, watch the show. ESPN 630 Sports Capital. Okay, let's see. Hold on. I got to read. I haven't heard from Ba in a while. Doesn't like my JJ take.
Oh, doesn't like that? Okay.
He says, yo, Bram, stop it. JJ doesn't know basketball like Hubie. That's an insult. And the Lakers are bigger than Bron. He might get traded if LA wants to restock. Maybe.
The problem is the Lakers.
I'm going with they won't. They're going to appease him because everything is leading. Bron's going to have to want to leave to make that happen, which
Right.
he may want to.
Yeah. The problem is the Lakers are in this weird thing where there is no solution in front of them, so they kind of have to just keep going with this.
Right. Well, you could reset. That's unusual for them.
Not with that fan base. That fan base is the worst fan base maybe in sports.
Well, they have an expectation that you're just going to go get the best.
Yeah, right.
And
if
they
you
have
don't,
two of the best
you
in the
suck.
league right now. That's right.
They
don't want to hear about.
There's no like, oh, we're building towards the future. No, win right now or else.
Well, I mean, listen, they went to the bitter end with Kobe.
Right.
And once he had tore his Achilles, he couldn't play anymore.
That's right. Yeah, he was a
and
shell
like
of
he had moments, where he looked like himself again. But they went to the end with him, and with LeBron, like that's short of some kind of unforeseen injury coming his way, that doesn't appear to be the case now. But he's kind of he's heading in the Ovechkin realm where you could see it slowing down, and it'll be in spurts, but it's probably not for 82 games. And then in the playoffs, he can't just carry anybody anymore. Like, that's over. We now know that for the last couple of years. But if they traded him, it would have to be for a really good reason. And them being the Anthony Davis show. In fact, I would probably trade both of them, actually. At that point, I probably would trade both and try to tell everybody we're going to reset, and we're the Lakers watch. We'll go get, we'll go recruit.
This is why I said, okay.
We'll go recruit the next. We'll go tell Shea to come play here. We'll go recruit the next guy and try to get them out of whatever situation that they're in. But they've been able to do it for so long that I don't put it past them because I think that brand is as good a brand in sports.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. You still leave yourself open the possibility of not being able to fill those shoes when you move on.
Correct, but I think it's going to be. They're going to try to keep him. That's what I think.
Yeah, so do I.
I think they're going to try to, and they're going to appease him, which means they're going to give him whatever he wants contractually. They're going to draft his son if he says so. Mm-hmm. They're going to hire his coach if he says so. And they're going to agree to any trade that he decides would be the right thing to do, which, as we've seen in the past, isn't.
Isn't right, yeah.
He wanted Russ.
I'm going to laugh if whatever team picks in front of the Lakers picks Bronny.
Maybe they'll let the Suns out of Brad jail and make that trade happen.
I want to see that fan base freak out on him every night.
What are they going to trade? Well, I don't know what they would trade to the Suns for Brad.
Right, yeah.
But, I could see where LeBron goes, well, he's available.
Well, yeah, because,
he's definitely available.
It's a no-trade clause, so honestly,
would Brad go to L.A.? He loves Hot Magazine. Of course he would go to L.A.
Remember he built a house there?
Yeah.
Remember people were freaking out here when he built a house out there.
He'd go there tomorrow. I bet he would go there he'd lift the no-trade clause to go play with LeBron in L.A. Of course he would. And you want to know? They're kind of blaming him today at Phoenix.
Yeah.
They won't with him.
Right. Yeah.
LeBron will throw him under the bus in a second.
Yeah, in a second. Yeah,
in a second.
Oh, it would be so great.
It would be great.
Because Brad would, as we've talked about all week, Brad has no accountability.
Right.
So the second he would have a bad game.
And no gravitas for someone as good as he is.
Yeah, I agree.
When he speaks, nobody's like, oh my God, did you hear what he said? They're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, exactly. So when Brad says we had a bad game, Braun's going to go, who's we?
Who's we, buddy?
He's going to be I played my ass off for 20 minutes because that's all I can give right now.
That's right.
You?
Yeah.
You got young legs, player.
Yeah.
You can play defense if you wanted to.
You were playing with the Wizards forever, bruh. Anyway, let's see. So I landed in Stephen A. land. Where's LeBron going to go? Mm-hmm. If it's not, I'm going to go with top answer is he stays.
Agree. Yeah.
Let me throw a couple back at you.
All right.
Cleveland's pretty good. Donovan Mitchell keeps talking about wanting to leave and go to New York.
He's straight up free agent after this year, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And, they're going to need another scorer. Yeah. So could they get Booker? Sure. Could they get KD? Those are maybes. They have to be traded.
Yeah.
Could LeBron opt out and just go to New York? Yep, possible.
Sure.
But what if Don, who loves New York, and they need a primary scorer and they don't have to trade anything for him necessarily? Well, they probably would, to appease him contractually. Yep. They always do these signing trades. But he gets to dictate it because he's a free agent. Let's say he goes to the Knicks because that's as good as they're going to do to upgrade that roster and give them a second primary scorer next to Brunson, which seems like is going to happen. Could he go back to Cleveland one more time? Could he do that? Close the circle one more time and go, I'm going to give you the last couple years of my career here. Could he do that?
The Bronny connection makes more sense then, at least, because then you're at least going, I'm going to go back home, bring Bronny with me.
I got this low on the list of actually things happening, but I was just thinking about it because I think Mitchell, no matter how far Cleveland goes, is leaving.
I agree, too.
And he's probably going to New York if they'll have him. Right? So, and why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Unless they can get Paul George or someone why wouldn't they? So that means Cleveland's got this giant hole again. and a pretty good team with Garland and Mobley and Allen. It's a pretty good team. Like, I don't know. Could he decide I'm going to close the circle one more time and give Cleveland the last couple years of my career? I don't think that's high on the reality list. I think had he not won a championship there, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
That's why I don't think, but they're going to have a big fat opening with actually a pretty good core of young players around him if he wanted to go and do that again.
It's probably like the 8th one on the list, but I would say percent chance, sure.
Would he go back to Miami, who needs another scorer one more time? Has a great relationship. We know with Riley. We think with Spoelstra. He's kind of talked about how coming and going and all that stuff. He could go back there, try to close the circle with them. Gets to play with Butler out of Bio.
Right.
Serious program.
Correct, yeah.
Maybe he gets them to draft Bronny, gets Riley, hey, do this for me. I want to play with him here. Knows he has a chance to win, knows how they play.
Right.
They're not going to lean on him for 8 million points because they play hard. He'll be in a rotation there.
That's right.
So Miami, I think, is one that I think Miami's going to try to lure Durant if they can get him, Booker if they could get him. I think they're going to try to lure a bit, maybe Mitchell, maybe Paul George. I think they're trying to lure somebody. Maybe LeBron goes back. I think it's low on the list, but I think Miami and the Knicks are going to be in line to get somebody big.
Right.
This offseason.
I guess it's worth throwing out there because Miami was in it when he was moving to the Lakers too. Remember wasn't that the Pat Riley here's my rings on the table type thing again?
Yes.
It was the second time that he had to be like, what you can
do here. What Riley could say to him though is, where did you have a better infrastructure in your entire career throughout all this? Yeah. You played for the Cavaliers twice. You played for the Lakers. Now you played with us, and we were the ones in the finals every single year.
Yeah.
We're the ones that put the team around you that gave you the chance to win. We're the ones that have a culture and play to the level that you want everybody to play at. Why wouldn't you come back here and try to finish out with as many championships as you can in this place? I think it's a selling point there, right?
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Golden State. The more I think about Golden State, the more I think it's like watching a 70s rock band try to reunite and play,
Seen Journey in 2024.
Yeah. It feels like it won't work out.
Yeah.
There'll be a traveling circus, and they'll play the hits for you every couple nights because Steph will have a couple crazy 30-something point games, and LeBron will have a couple crazy games. But it doesn't feel like it's going to end up in the right spot. So I could understand the lure of wanting to go do it. And he and Steph have been playing footsie for the last few months, kind of talking about it. And don't forget, LeBron did the New York thing with the towel. He's been trying to hint that he's going to move around. I think in the end, he's not going to do that. Probably because why does he want to intertwine his legacy with Steph? One. And because he doesn't want any questions about that, I don't think. Because Steph does he have more championships than he does? Or as many?
I think it's as many.
He got one with the Lakers, one with Cleveland, 2 with the Heat. Beat Golden State. Mm-hmm. The Warriors have 3 or 4. I can't remember
4,
now.
15, 18, 7, or 15, 17, 18, 22.
So on the same plane. He did beat them. He'll always have that.
Yep.
He did beat them.
3-1. 3-1.
3-1, beat them in their prime. Beat them. I still think it's low. I think in the end he's going to look at that and go, I think we're just a little too over the hill to pull this off. And I don't want to be the people that they're just like we're the reunion band and everyone gives us a standing ovation at the end for trying hard. I don't think he wants to. I don't think he's going to want that. I think if he was going to do that, he'd just stay in L.A.
That's what I was going to throw out there because of that, though, because he's already on the West Coast. That is not the craziest, living situation for him either.
Yeah.
If he goes to Golden State.
I agree.
It's more convenient than any of the other places you just named.
The only other one I saw, and it's because Daryl Morey is so active, is that Philly would try to get him. And if they're willing to trade Maxey to L.A., go for it.
Go for it, yeah. But
right.
They're not
Are they going to take Embiid? I would even trade for Embiid at this point and take a shot because he's younger. I know he's had a lot of injuries, but he's younger and they like stars
on the same team. They've never played against.
Right, what would they be trading to get LeBron James? And does he want to go there and be I doubt it.
Right.
That doesn't seem like something that would happen to me. So I got Lakers staying 1.
Yep.
I got Knicks convincing him to come up here, win here. It's going to really mean something if you win here, 2. And then I got Miami Cleveland, Golden State, all kind of lurking in the we could sell you that you should come back here. And I think Miami's a little higher on that list than people probably conceive or perceive at this point. Because I think Riley can convince him, nothing's changed around here since you left, but everywhere else you've been has been a you-know-what show constantly. So come on back here and let's finish out your career the right way. That's what I think the selling point would be.
The odds look like this on FanDuel. Plus 150 for the Lakers, plus 950 Knicks, plus 1,100 Cavs, 1,100 Heat, 1,300 Warriors. Then we get into long shot territory, but it's fun. Plus 1,900 Hawks and Bulls.
Why?
And 76ers.
Partially. Well, I don't know why he'd want to go there, but I could see why they'd want maybe a couple of those players back.
Right. You get
Trae
Young back. Yeah.
If they want him, yes.
Right.
At least you have a legitimate P1 player that you'd get back.
Then all of these are plus 2,200. Mavs, Clippers, Nuggets, Spurs, Pelicans, Thunder, Grizzlies.
Think Cuban would do it in a second if he could. But what are they giving up? And Kyrie's there. He's buddies with him. So I don't.
Sure.
Maybe.
Right.
Him, Kyrie, Luka would be a heck of a trio.
Mm-hmm. That Spurs one's interesting. Pop.
Spurs.
Go with Pop for a year. He loves Pop.
Prop Wemby up as the next.
Yep. Right.
I'm gonna make you real competitive right now.
Sure.
And prop you up and pass the torch to you legitimately, like you're the next.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
Could do that.
I do like that OKC's on the list though, because that's my dark horse.
I think they're gonna let this young group try to do it. That's what I think.
Picks though. They have 1 million draft picks.
They do.
Get to go 1 or 2 years with you. Bring us along here. Try to win a championship here.
Couple of them.
Yeah. And then you know what LeBron actually gets, and LeBron loves this.
Yeah.
He gets to push that back to Westbrook, KD, and Harden, going, "You guys couldn't do it here."
Hey, he likes that.
He likes doing
that. A little of that.
He likes doing that.
Diss track. That's his diss track.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. All right, be right back. Bram Buster Show, ESPN 630, Sports Capital. Did you see the bees in Arizona last night?
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I don't know why it was awesome, but it was awesome. And there was a colony of them.
Yes.
They were congregated somewhere, so somebody wasn't paying attention to the net.
By home plate, apparently. Yeah.
Somebody wasn't paying attention to the net. Something was getting built there.
2-hour delay. Bees.
2-hour delay. And then I saw the video. Everyone was giving the beekeeper a standing
they let him throw out
ovation.
the first pitch.
Oh yeah, that's the way to go.
How great is that? Then he got an interview. He got like a media scrum.
If they go back to the World Series,
bees.
It's all bees. All bees all the time.
If MLB was as fun as the minor leagues, the Diamondbacks would have alternate jerseys as the bees next week, essentially.
If you were allowed to, just black and yellow Arizona bees.
Yep.
Let's go.
My boys over at Hat Club are probably already doing a custom
bees.
Black and yellow Diamondbacks hat for sure.
Mike Trout is very unlucky. He's hurt again.
Yes, he is.
And he's out for, they didn't say the season, but.
Unspecified amount of games. What was that?
It was meniscus.
Yeah.
So he's not playing with that for months.
Right.
I mean, 6 weeks minimum and probably more 2 to 3 months. So it's maybe not the season, but the season will be over by the time he comes back. Correct. And I think he's got 7 or 8 years left on his contract. And it's crazy because when they signed him to it, it was that's their Ovechkin contract. They're going to be very happy that they did that.
Yeah.
And this one's bad luck. They gave the right guy the money. He just can't stay healthy.
He has.
And all the injuries are different. That's the craziest part of the whole thing, too. They're all different.
He has 6 more years left.
Yeah. But I mean, could you argue giving him the money? Of course not.
No, not at all.
But as we have found out with him, not so much. And it'd be one thing if it was like Strasburg, where it's kind of the same thing over and over and over and over. That's not with him. He's had serious back issues or serious knee issues or serious, it's always something different.
Yep.
And so I feel like he's unlucky on some level.
He's going to have, I was thinking about this yesterday, he's going to have the weirdest induction to Cooperstown ever, I think.
You think he's getting in?
Trout?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the best baseball player wise in the last decade plus.
He's been in the postseason, right?
Once.
Yeah.
Or twice.
And they've never won anything.
They've never won. They never moved on.
And we'll see because his team's not very
He
good.
legitimately has the excuse, though, of the franchise is inept around him, yet his numbers are going to be literally the best of all time, probably.
If he plays.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
No,
the,
for sure.
That's the
I
thing.
think
Like,
he's
this
already-
keeps happening where he keeps getting hurt.
Right, but he's going to get in.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now.
He is. He's absolutely a
Right
Hall of Famer.
now?
Yeah, he's absolutely a Hall of Famer.
Where is he in the all-time standings? Hold on.
He's definitely in.
Mike Trout. Let's see stats. Let's see all-time. Where does he rank on all-time stats?
Hold on one sec here. This was earlier last year. 3-time MVP already, 11-time All-Star. He already ranks at 85.2 WAR, which is the best in that category in that time frame. 1,624 hits, 368 home runs. That's now. That's not even including what he does after this.
Right. Okay. We'll see. I think we're going to see.
He's a Hall of Famer, but
Okay.
what's going to happen is he's going to do his Cooperstown speech, and not a single person can tell you what his signature play was
Correct.
because he didn't have any post game
didn't have
games.
it,
He had like 2
and-
post games.
Yeah. Maybe he'll end up
postseason
with the
games.
Phillies at some point. Maybe they'll trade him over.
Well, that was
at
always
some
the
point.
joke, but then
Yeah.
they signed him to the extension. The second Bryce signed on there, they gave him the 6-year extension.
And the other one last night, Orioles won again. Gave up 2 runs in 2 games now to the Yankees, which is incredible.
Yep.
One of them was Juan Soto hit a home run
To Utah Street.
about as far as you could possibly hit it in
Yeah.
that stadium. I think it was the second longest one there ever
That sounds
that
about
wasn't
right.
in an exhibition.
Yep,
Because
right,
there were
right.
a couple that were in the home run contest years and years ago that I think hit the
I
warehouse.
think Griffey hit the warehouse.
Hit the warehouse. But he hit what I think is what they called the second longest home run. And the swing was violent.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
The only thing I didn't understand is Soto. I know he likes to, showboat a little bit. He was giving Dean Kramer the stare down, and I'm like, "What beef do you guys
I know,
have?
right.
You don't even know Dean
Yeah,
Kramer."
even Dean Kramer's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. So-
just-
and you're also down 4-2. It's not like
Yeah.
you just hit a game winner
Go ahead.
either. So all right,
But it
all right,
was
Juan.
it was one of those where you're like, oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
that guy still has it.
he's still pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Orioles.
Ridiculous.
First 2 of a 4-game set Yankees won them both and have given up 2 runs.
Yes. So,
If that's what it's going to be, they're going to be unbeatable.
well, I mean, their bullpen
That's
has been really good.
Unbeatable if that's
yeah.
what it's going to be. Because their lineup is going to, they've only scored 6 in these first 2 games, but if their pitching is going to be anything like this on any kind of regular basis, they're going to be unbeatable this year because they're going to have plenty of nights where they score 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 runs because their lineup is so crazy.
Their rotation's starting to really come into form too. Like John Means got called back up today.
Yeah.
Like that's your 4th or 5th starter.
Yeah.
That was your best pitcher 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to do another sports radio segment now. Can you
wow.
believe it? I'm all sports radio.
Look at you. Must be
We're
May.
going to, it must be May. May 1st, time to do concocted sports radio segments. We're going to talk about where the NFC East is now post the draft.
Oh wow, you are going full sports talk
Full
radio.
sports talk radio.
Oh my god.
I'm going to start doing Skip Bayless, Nick Wright, and Stephen A. Smith impressions very, very soon. Maybe Mad Dog, too, if I can really summon the
Back
energy
after
for
this.
it. Back after this. Brave Watch the Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Some media news here. We're starting to get all the media news now. I just saw Mel Kiper Jr. tweet out that he is doing his last Saturday radio show with Dari Noko.
Oh,
It's been
wow.
going on for
Dari and Mel.
14 years.
Yeah.
Probably has been airing here, right?
Yeah. It's a national show.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been airing
It's just
here,
early
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
it's not one of those shows you promote because it's just always there.
So he said he tweeted out he's going to end that.
Wow.
Ooh, is Mel slowing down?
No.
He's slowing
No,
down.
I don't think so.
Just taking a few responsibilities off
Yeah,
now.
Yeah. My favorite was McShay was on with Barstool recently about how he doesn't own a cell phone.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So you have to call the house phone.
Then you have to talk to his wife.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mel also eats pumpkin pie year round.
There's a lot there.
So I'm just saying, he's not hanging it up. I think he's just
Yeah, I don't think he is.
slow rolling it a little bit.
Yeah.
He screams to me he's going to do it forever. So
I don't know. Maybe he's slowing it down a little bit.
he's such a machine. I don't like.
I did love Matt Miller is the one I went on the air the other day and was like, this man should be in the Hall of Fame, which is the second year in a row I've heard that. And I agree.
I agree with it 100%. 100%.
Like, the NFL draft,
They owe billions of dollars to what he helped. I mean,
whatever they paid him, it's not enough.
it's not enough. Yeah, I agree.
And, he he elevated something that if you go look back at the tape from the 80s, they were doing this at card tables in a boardroom in a Secaucus Marriott.
Secaucus Marriott.
You know, like that's what was happening.
It's like Mel and then helmet phones, apparently, was what helped put the draft on the map.
Well, Mel was the first to go, like they did this, and then they went on TV, and Mel would criticize them.
Yes, right.
And, you know, the best was he got some of the GMs to go on and be like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah, right.
And it started the original hot takey part of, no one ever watched this. It reminds me, too, like if you watch the old versions of the World Series of Poker on ESPN, it's a joke compared to what it ended up becoming.
Yeah.
And that kind of belongs to Jamie Horowitz, who kind of recreated it from a producer perspective, and then Norman Chad.
Right.
Norman Chad, who went on this and made it like an elevated event with being funny around it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the World Series of Poker is like this big, well, not as much anymore, but like was for a while there.
Though.
Yes, and it's slickly edited and all that stuff. The NFL draft being Lollapalooza in going city to city now.
Oh.
Mel Kiper Jr. is the Moses of that. I mean, he really is. And so, like, I'm all for that. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
We're on what, year 5 of it moving around? It was Philly first.
It's Philly. Nashville's done it. Detroit now. Kansas City did it last year. I'm trying to remember. There's something in there. I remember Nashville.
Here we go. The history of the draft. Let's scroll down. Okay, so it was Chicago got it 2 years in a row, 15 and 16. The last year was.
I still think though in Chicago, they didn't do it on the street, right? They did it.
I think you're right.
They still did it in like a theater, they had been doing in New York forever.
So they did Radio City Music Hall the last time in 2014. Then 15 and 16 was Chicago. Then Philly. Then Dallas. Remember Dallas.
Philly, Dallas,
Nashville. Then virtual in 2020 when Goodell was in his living room.
Right. Yeah.
Cleveland. Had it in 21.
Yeah.
Then Vegas 22. Kansas City, Detroit. And then Green Bay is next season.
Green Bay is going to be wild, too.
Yeah, that's going to be a party.
Well, actually, the really tricky part about that is I don't know where everybody's staying.
Yes, that's a good call. Yeah.
If 400,000 people show up to that city. Yeah.
Airbnbs, rooms in the neighborhood.
Yeah. There's going to be a population boom up there because, like, people are just going to be staying in people's houses.
Yeah.
I think, like, some people are just going to be renting out a room. And other people are going to rent out the house, and they're going to get, like, rent for a year and a half off of, do you want a house next to Lambeau Field, for a week of the draft?
Exactly.
And that's going to be...
That's First Take House.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen A. walks out the front door.
Barstool House.
Yeah, that's right.
First Take House.
That'd be fun. You'd watch. Yeah. What my point here was going to be is we're on year... This is 2024. We're almost 10 years into this, and every single year... I react to it, I see the reaction, and I get a text or two from people going, I can't believe so many people show up to this thing. And we're so
the
far
first
into
round,
it.
I kind of get it. The second, even in the second round, like we took, at pick 36, we took Johnny Newton.
Yep, right.
Who, I'll be honest with you, when they picked him, I didn't know he went by Johnny.
Right, yeah, neither did I. Right,
I was like,
exactly.
That's Jerzon Newton.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, his name is Johnny now. And I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Cool, great. That's easier.
I'm like, as the play-by-play guy, I'm like, whoo, all right, let's go,
taken.
baby.
Right.
Yeah. We got Phil Mathis and Johnny Newton.
Right.
Let's go. Let's go.
Even, I would think way, way, way back in the day, day one of the draft, you at least got rounds 1, 2, and 3, I think, right? In the first day?
Yeah.
And that was on a Saturday morning.
Yes.
And so that was like, okay, that's a day at Radio City. That's fine. Then when they even said to Radio City, all right, we're going to divide it into 3 days. I'm going, okay, it's New York City, whatever. Now they move this thing city to city? That is ridiculous.
Like, who drew more people, the NFL draft or Coachella? I'm not sure.
Probably Coachella. But
maybe.
I mean, just because Coachella last.
They said 700,000 people went to Detroit.
It's mainly because Coachella.
700,000 people.
Coachella's multiple weekends now, though, so you can't really compete with that.
Give me one 3-day event and tell me that 700,000 people showed up to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
What else gets 700,000 people to show up to it?
But I think what's funny is there's nothing even to watch. You're watching the players go across the stage.
That's the funny part. The funny part of the whole thing is once you, even in the second round at times, like, okay, like of the 3 picks, we paid 3 second-round picks. I only really knew of one of them.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Right.
I read up on Johnny Newton after
course.
we took him, and I had to figure out who Ben Sinnott is.
Right.
I didn't watch a lot of Kansas State football last year, so he wasn't high on my radar. You know, like, he was among the names that was on a list to me. They were like, when they go pick a tight end, second or third round, he's one of the 5 or 6 names to watch.
Yeah.
That's it. Sandestrill, I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, right.
Home run.
Right.
I love that guy.
Super smart. Fights his
But
guts
everybody else, the cutaways are the most amazing thing. 99% of the time, like, they'll pick somebody, and everybody who's the fans of those teams are like, yes, they've never heard of this person.
It's the person that doesn't know who they are, and they just go, all right.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea who they just picked.
Or the best ones are, like, the Eagles select Jalix Hunt.
Yeah.
He plays for Houston Christian. There's no way you've ever seen him play, ever.
Right.
You'd have to be the biggest draft geek on earth to catch a workout of this guy. You've never seen him play. You know nothing about him. And there you're like, yeah, Howie.
I will say this. I've only been to the draft one time, and it was 2012. And so I did know who Kirk Cousins was because that was the quarterback.
Did you go because we had the second overall pick?
Yeah.
So you wanted to see them say it.
So I also was
because we knew who they were picking.
Yeah,
we just wanted to see them say it.
It was also one of those things I just always wanted to do at one time. And so it's like Radio City. My brother at the time was living in New York City. It was very easy. It was free, by the way, too. I don't know. Do you have to pay for the draft now, or is it still free? Do you know that?
If it's free?
I think it's free still. So, but what I'm getting at here is it was, okay, with the second overall pick.
It's probably free.
I got to think it's free.
Open air like that, I'm certain it's free. And I'm sure they're very happy. The city's like, come on down.
Yeah.
Every hotel's booked.
Yeah, spend a bunch of money.
Every restaurant's booked.
But it was one of those things, I always wanted to do it just one time. So when they made the trade to get the second overall pick, I was like, I'm going. I'm going to go. I want to do day one, whatever. And that in that realm or that era, you had to camp out for tickets the night before, too. You didn't get the tickets until midnight of the day of the draft. So I had to camp out Wednesday night to get the Thursday night to get the Friday tickets. I think that's what it was.
There's part of me that feels like the Super Bowl should be in a set location every year where there's a stadium dedicated to it now.
I told you during the
like,
pandemic.
I feel like, because like we're at this point now with whatever they do that's big, and the draft is big, will draw these massive crowds to these places. Like if there was this is the Super Bowl stadium. It's dedicated. It's the only thing that happens there, you know, from a football perspective. So it like has this allure to it. They have 2 weeks to dress it up with the teams and all that stuff to make it very homey. And it becomes almost a museum to football and the Super Bowl throughout the year.
I told you this during pandemic time when they couldn't
it has
figure
to be
out
warm weather, obviously.
But when they couldn't figure out how to get like the stadiums lined up, remember, because certain places weren't letting you play. Like remember, San Francisco had to play in Arizona for their home games.
Yeah.
I said, why? How has the NFL just not bought thousands of acres somewhere and popped up NFL World?
NFL World.
Like no offense to Canton, you got to move the Hall of Fame to wherever that goes.
Yeah,
like,
maybe. Well, I don't know. Maybe they just leave it there. What do they care?
But I said the same thing. Why the NFL and college football don't partner with each other to make
NFL World with what? Museums, team offerings,
multiple fields, so you can fly. You can get sponsorships to get people to fly in for high school championships or national championships. Like so this like. How they haven't basically what I compare it to is how they haven't gone the Disney World route yet, where Walt Disney bought millions of acres of swampland
I think they could do. I mean, this is the living proof of it. If 700,000 people are willing to go to Detroit in April to go watch the NFL draft,
to watch nothing.
What are they willing to do to go to NFL World for 2 weeks leading into the Super Bowl, and then on any other, like to your point, they could have state championships, flag football championships, lower tier college football championships, and just invite them.
D3,
bring them here. We will do them here.
Exactly.
Right?
You get to do spring games too if you want to bring in some of the big colleges there, like if they want to experience that, and you have NFL scouts. That, like I'm just saying that there should be NFL World.
NFL World.
It should be a thing. I've said it for years.
You could have multiple games played over a weekend that are preseason games that are there. So the teams come in during the preseason, and it becomes a whole like let's go and hang out and a reason to go somewhere in the summer, as opposed to trying to pitch people to come see the third string quarterback in your home stadium.
Right.
You know, like, which is always a hard sell for like, it's the one, this is the one, it's funny. It's the one thing that's a hard sell at the NFL, which is why they want to somehow get rid of the preseason. But I've always argued with the preseason, if you just actually did the controlled scrimmages,
Yeah.
people, one, will still watch that.
Right.
Two, the teams always say they get more out of those joint practices than they do out of a game because, they can talk to each other and say, we want to work on this drill. Let's work on it. And they'll be competitive with one another. They always say this. They get more out of it. I actually think that those have always been a better, more purposeful way of going about the preseason than these games.
Right.
But if they had NFL World, they could cycle through all the teams at some point during the summer, and they could play a slate of the preseason games in these neutral sites, and all their teams show up for a week and hang out. And
Right. You could also just do a multiple, like you could bring 4 teams in each week in the preseason, and then they all scrimmage against each other, and then you just have your normal games.
Scrimmage, play the games.
Yeah.
You had 4 or 5 teams, and then all the fan bases show up at the same time.
Right.
I don't know. There's ways to go. I hear here on Mel. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He is one of the most known entities of the league. He was part of something that nobody paid any real attention to. Nobody recognized how important it was. And he was so good on television and disseminating the information that he elevated the event.
That's right.
He did.
Yes.
He literally elevated the event to a point where part of this is he's Moses. He brought everybody out of the desert and into this new world. And I think he belongs. I mean, he's also been on air for so long.
Right.
And a positive influence because all he's ever talking about is football. That's all he's ever talking about.
Exactly. Yep.
So, and I've told these stories before, but he used to do a show with Andy.
Yep.
And
Andy still gets them on once a year. Yeah.
I went to a couple of them, a couple times when I was working at 980 in Baltimore, and I went to them. And it's not an act. He's got this crazy photographic memory that I wish he used his power for, I don't know, curing cancer or something, but he didn't. And it's actually in action the most unbelievable trick you've ever seen in your life. Because in the break, every single time, people would line up to say something to him. And all of them are fans of different teams.
Yeah.
And they would ask these what sounded like crazy questions. They'd be like, 5 years ago, the Titans picked this corner out of Tennessee State, and he would know exactly who he was talking about. He would remember everything about their combine. He would and just be able to spit it out right back at them on the spot. And I'm like, how do you remember this?
Right.
I can't remember anything that happened 2 days ago. How do you remember? When the game is over, all the everything I've downloaded to do the game that's fresh in my mind, I erase it and start over. And if you ask me what happened on this third down or that third down, I'll be hard pressed to remember what happened yesterday because I erase it and then fill it up again. Not him.
Yep.
He's got the cloud in his brain is enormous.
Right.
He's the internet. I've never seen anything like it what he's able to do.
I think the correlation here is I should be eating pumpkin pie all year round.
Maybe that's the trick. Maybe that is the trick.
Pumpkin and brain food, apparently.
All right, a couple other things. I'll do all the NFC stuff in a minute because I've wasted time talking about Mel for so long. The Falcons, the Jets put out, a lot of teams are putting out these videos where they do the phone calls.
Right, yeah.
And I'm all for the videos of this. In the Commanders' case, they did the standard ones, which is, here we are calling our guys.
Yep, right.
What they didn't show was the conversations Adam Peters had that ended up not executing in trades.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Apparently, the Jets decided to put out a lot of video that included, without hearing the other side, only Joe Douglas is all you hear.
Yeah, it's Joe Douglas and Saleh.
I wonder how the other teams feel about this because they are revealing which teams tried to trade with them.
Yep.
And it's one thing to reveal the Minnesota one because Minnesota actually did it with them. But in this, you hear, one, the Commanders tried to talk to them.
Yep.
You hear, not that this is a surprise, but you are kind of outing everybody else by doing it. Not that I'm against that. I like that idea. But again, it's interesting they're doing it. And then they had one which I thought was amazing. So apparently they were talking to Atlanta, not because Atlanta thought they wanted to move up, but Atlanta wanted to get number 10. And it sounds like it was a little confusing at first because they're like, we're not going to trade up. Right? And they're like, no, we're staying at 8. We want to move up again.
10. Yeah.
So they wanted to get Penix and the best defensive player on the board is what they wanted to do.
Right.
And so they miscalculated twice because the best defensive player on the board didn't fall to 15 and probably wasn't the guy they were going to take anyway. They overpaid for Penix and tried to overpay again for probably Dallas Turner.
I guess, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't look good.
No.
So, like, everyone's yelling about the Penix pick. I'm kind of looking at the Jets going, I don't know if you needed to out them on that one. Like, is that your business to out them on something that didn't happen?
Right. Well, I will say this, though, not on the Atlanta front, but on the Vikings front, of the reaction afterwards of them going, free money.
Free money. That was another one. Now, that one was kind of funny, but at least that happened. Like, they did make this trade. It was a stupid trade, but they must have been scared that somebody was jumping them. But, like, in this video, you don't hear them talking to anybody else for that pick, except with Atlanta, who wanted clearly not another quarterback again.
Right. I want to say, what was the year Tebow was drafted? It was like Tebow. Either way, this happened here, where Vinny drafted, I think, Rocky McIntosh. No, Rocky McIntosh was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Who
Tebow?
was it? Who was it?
Tried to get him?
No, but there was a pick where it was Arakpo. It was the Arakpo draft. So it's 2010, 2009 maybe?
2010, Tebow was picked 25th overall.
Is that the Arakpo draft picking up?
The 2010 draft? I will find out for you.
Either way, something happened on the draft where Brian Arakpo was drafted. I think it was Denver, who tried to trade up one pick. And the then Redskins said, no, don't worry about it.
No, we took Trent Williams number 4.
That was 2010. Whatever year was Arakpo. I think Arakpo was maybe the year before or something like that. But what I'm getting at here is some team, it was 2009. 2009, they picked Arakpo. And I remember this, that I think it was the Saints tried to jump up above them. And Vinny said, don't worry, we're not picking your guy. Yeah. And everybody was like,
what are you doing that for?
Why didn't you take...
Well, that was right. Like, take the free money.
Yes, correct. And everybody was like, what the hell?
I said this like the other day. I'm like, I don't understand why Minnesota traded with the Jets. They knew they weren't taking him.
Right.
And so they must have been scared someone else was going to jump him because everyone else assumed that, and Douglas just played them.
I might have had this reversed.
Well, I guess they thought Denver was going to try to do it, or maybe the Raiders. But the Raiders had made it so clear who they wanted.
Right, exactly.
So clear who they wanted.
I might have had it flipped. The Broncos picked Noshawn Moreno at 12. The Skins picked Arakpo at 13, and then the Saints took Malcolm Jenkins at 14. All three different positions. It might have even been Vinny trying to trade up there. Actually, it wouldn't have shocked me if that was the case.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like, duh, you take that trade.
We're not taking your guy. Thanks for telling me that. Have a nice day.
Appreciate it, dummy.
Have a nice day.
Original taco eyes. So incompetent, this organization.
Maybe not anymore.
Well,
we'll see.
Was hopefully
we'll see.
Was incompetent, but yeah. So to your original point with the Jets, yes, you can show that, but to like do a victory lap on it, that's gonna leave a little.
Well, didn't you like the one that Minnesota did where they laughed at the Eagles for taking Jalen Rager and not Justin Jefferson?
Right, yeah.
They showed the video of them laughing in the draft room, saying like they can't believe they took him over, and they turned out to be right about that.
They were like bang on right.
I don't mind the victory lap. I mind the outing of the things that didn't happen.
Okay,
because I think that's a little unfair to the other. Like the Minnesota thing happened, so you could say. But like outing Atlanta for trying to trade back up and overpaying again, I think is a little much.
Yeah, okay.
Honestly, one other quick things about our ownership group. Did you see this? What the Sixers are trying to do to keep the Knicks fans out?
No.
Sixers ownership, Josh Harris, David Blitzer, and David Adelman, alongside Fanatics CEO and former co-owner Michael Rubin, are teaming up to purchase and hand out more than 2,000 Game 6 tickets to first responders, healthcare professionals, community groups, and other local organizations to ensure a measurable tipping of the scales, making sure a few thousand of their people are in the building and limiting the inventory for the unpleasant Knicks fans to purchase resale on the resale market. And that's from some Philadelphia.
Game 6, playoff game, Philadelphia.
Game 6.
And the owners
must win. Either way, close out or must win.
And the owners have to step up and buy tickets to hand out for charity.
Because the Philly fans aren't showing up. Or reselling.
Okay, soft. Either way.
So I can't wait to get Kincaid on again because he loves to make fun of us about the buses to FedEx Field. I can't wait to be like, what happened in the playoffs against the Knicks? How did you get overrun like that, Mr. Oh, nobody invades Philadelphia?
Bull. I told you this. I was on this first. I said this with the Flyers game 3 weeks ago, and you didn't believe me.
There's things in my pocket that I'm hanging on to, too. One day, I want to commission a bus trip to the Link whenever they're a little down and out, and their tickets are suddenly a little bit available.
Because they will be.
And hopefully our quarterback is the cat's meow, and we get to go up there and invade their stadium. And, you'll have to sign a waiver just in case you get injured.
That's right.
But I can't wait. And then I want to bring our benches to Dallas one day when it's right to do it. When it sets us for us to smack them down.
No. I need to step in. Leave that in the past.
I want something. But we need to invade the Link one day when the timing is right. You never just do it. When the timing is right. When we know that we've got the better of them. And the same thing with Dallas. I don't know what the get back is. But there's going to be a get back.
Correct.
For one of those games. Like they caught us. Wrong place, wrong time a couple times and took advantage of it.
Yep.
I'm waiting for when it's wrong place, wrong time for them, and we got to do something back to them. We owe them.
I agree 100% on that, but it can't be the benches. We need to leave that. That was the lamest thing Ron might have ever done, and there was a lot of lame things Ron did.
Again.
It was so stupid.
Yes. In the week where we were going to get killed.
Yes. For
and
no
we knew
reason.
it. We knew it going in. Yes. It was like, guys, we're going to I remember preparing for that game going, it's going to be bad. It's just a matter of how bad. Because we had half our team.
Correct.
And I'm like, they were streaking towards the playoffs. Yes. I'm like, we're going to get killed
They
here.
decided to still do it. And it was like, guys.
All I was hoping for was 31 to 10.
John and Duran throwing punches.
This was like
or is that a different one?
At the end of last year too, I was like, this isn't good. I don't think I know what happened last year, but I don't think this is going to go well this year. How bad is it going to be?
Right.
It turned out it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but still, no. Yeah. Leave anything Ron did in the past. You can't do that.
All Ron antics in the past.
The benches thing was dumb. Like, how did he not know?
I said it at the time. I'm like, keep.
You know, you can say no and not do that, right?
Put it in your pocket. When the day comes that you have the upper hand, come up with something original to do back to them.
Yes.
But I do want to invade the Link one day because we owe them for that.
We
Big
need to happen what has happened here with Dallas. We need like the week 18 or week 20, whenever that happens, where they're definitively out of it and we are in it.
Yeah.
And that needs to happen.
And it's gonna go our way.
Yes, right.
So now we need to send a little message to them.
Or like they fully have a playoff spot locked up and we're just partying in the crowd anyways and the game doesn't matter. That could also be one of the factors.
All right, we'll get into the NFC East next. Bram, watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Thank you, Corey, who tweeted, when the timing is right, we're invading the Link. Count us in. When the timing is right. Might not be this year. We'll see.
You know, you always fantasize about Uncle Bram's army. That might actually, you might actually put your name on that one.
Oh, I'll commission those buses. And I'm going to take pictures and text them to John Kincaid constantly on our way. Hey, we had to stop for gas at the Delaware rest stop. We're just getting gassed up. We'll be there soon, guy.
You're not riding in those buses.
That's right. Yeah. But I'll zoom in if they allow that. I'll zoom in.
I'll be the commander. Wink, of those buses.
It's got to be when the time is right, and that's not right now. But it's in my. We owe them for all these years of them coming down, especially with the bus trips. Oh, we owe them. So when the day comes,
sing the old theme song too.
Yeah, that's fine. Fine.
The new one's not good. I don't even know if they play it still. I still can't hear it. My speakers don't work in my section. Sorry, guys.
I'll send the note. They got a lot of things.
It was on the list.
A lot of boxes to check over there.
It was on the list this year of new sound system. So they did answer it in a couple years late. But yes,
not a lot going on. None of our teams are playing anymore. Go Spirit tonight.
Go Spirit tonight, though.
Yeah,
that's right.
Ozon. Nats. Hot Nats. I know lost last night, but hot Nats. Hot Nats on. Outside of that.
No one says that down there.
Yeah, I know.
That's a weird
There's
one.
a lot. So we got to do sports radio bits. Alrighty, here we are in May. What do we think of the NFC East teams post the draft? Because we've made a benchmark moment here. Mm-hmm. I still think everybody's roster's incomplete at this point because, look, the Cowboys just signed Zeke again. Yeah. Not that I think that's that big of a deal, but, they did.
It's your new number, Zeke, by the way.
Mm-hmm. 15. All right, that's what he wore in New England last year. That's what he wore in college.
Yeah,
he was 21 all those years in Dallas.
Right.
I wonder if this is his last year. I think he's probably
It's got to be.
come back, play with his
ride.
buddy, last ride, never wanted to leave in the first place.
Right.
Anyway. All right, let's go through the 4 teams and see where we are. We'll do Washington last. Giants, which I think is the easiest one to do.
Mm-hmm.
So all the reporting is they did try to get Drake May.
Right. Yep.
Not that this should probably come as any surprise to Dimes, but they did. And then when they didn't get him, I will hand them the award, the discipline award for not taking JJ if that's not the guy they wanted.
Yeah, right.
Because they could have, and they didn't, or they could have taken Penix. But they didn't go, we need a quarterback so bad we'll take any of them.
Yep.
They determined if we can get him, we want him, and if we can't, we're not going to do it. So I will give them credit for doing that. I still do. It does mean that they don't have a long-term future at the position, and they were already thinking through what the next is. They did go get Drew Lock, I think partially on the just in case they need a starter.
Did you see the follow-up on that, too, this week? It was either this week or late last week, that the whole I think it was Pete Carroll was the coach at the time they lost him, or was Carroll already gone by the time free agency opened up?
He was gone.
No, he was gone. So
Schneider has said, he goes, I think I think he could be the starter there.
So Schneider said, I guess on the radio, they told him he has a chance to start. And then I think it was Dayball came out and was like, no, it's not the case. Mm-hmm. Someone circled back around last week and said, that's legitimately the case.
Yes, Daniel Jeremiah. He said it on his podcast.
Yeah.
Said on his podcast, I've heard he's going to have a real shot to start.
Yeah.
And honestly, is that surprising?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they said it out loud, though, was a little odd, but now clearly that's the case.
In the end, they take Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
Great pick.
Right. Great pick. Yeah.
Sure. With no quarterback, I always get concerned with the receivers when they walk in there because, I guess Drew Lock better look his way a lot. I don't know why he wouldn't, or Jones for that matter. But it can be frustrating when you go, this is going to be the Brock Bowers thing in Vegas. He's a great pick, especially where they got him.
Yeah.
It was. They don't usually do this, but he was a too good to turn down. That was our Johnny Newton pick. He was kind of too good to turn down. I think the Raiders were like, well, we're not getting our quarterback. Why don't we just take the best player on the board?
That's right.
That guy's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a quarterback.
Right.
So how's that going to go? I don't know, but how do you turn it down? Neighbors is a very good pick for them. They didn't do anything stupid, but is it going to change much for them?
Right.
Not till they get a quarterback. I mean, I don't care how good you're. Garrett Wilson, the second Rodgers went out and had Zach back in there, couldn't put the numbers up anymore. Mm. So we'll have to see. Who's their running back?
Right.
Who's their tight end? I don't know. Is their offensive line considerably better than it was? No.
Right.
But they did have a lot of injuries, to be fair to them.
Sure.
And then defensively, I would just say this about them. Now that Wink Martindale's not there, and they're probably play a less aggressive defense that really hung the secondary out to dry, if those guys like Thibodeau and Aguilari didn't get home, they were in trouble. Just the way they were kind of positioned, that's what infuriated me about us losing to them, was they could be had constantly if you just blocked them, which we couldn't do. They went and signed Brian Burns. They have Thibodeau on the other side. Still have Dexter Lawrence. Their secondary is getting a little more, Deonte Banks will be year 2, showed some signs last year. Are they better? Schematically, are they better? Or at least less dangerous? I look at them and I'd go, I don't know, other than they got a receiver, which was a desperate need. Are they actually better than they were a year ago? And I've kind of come to, unless defensively they're better.
I think defensively they are. I think they did a lot of what the Commanders did. They filled in their holes. And
their edge rush could be second to none.
Yeah. So I think
Burns Thibodeau is going to be a really, really tough duo to deal with.
Yeah. I think legitimately their defense got better. If not, they settled down. They should be solid on defense.
But I look at them and I don't see what they were a couple years ago. Are they explosive enough on offense with the quarterback situation, even adding Neighbors, but not knowing what their running game is anymore?
Right.
I don't see.
No, I think offensively they did a neutral shift over.
Yeah, they feel like they got a little better in certain spots. Might be better because they're coached differently defensively. Splashed on one guy.
Yep.
But does that make them a playoff team? I don't know.
Right.
So past the benchmark of the draft, I'm not sure I see it with them.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia. So they needed defensive backs. They drafted 2 of them early and got pick of the litter, so they think the guy from Toledo's best DB on the board, they got him.
Yep.
Leadership on defense. I'm going to ask this question about them. I think I know who the leaders on offense are, although there seems to be some awkward stuff going on between AJ and Jalen and whatever, whatever it may be. Who's the leader on their defense? And I think this is part of the issue of what's been going on with them, is that the guys on the field don't seem to necessarily jibe together like in the way that you would expect with a roster that they have. So I look at them and I go, very talented. Like Jordan Davis could be really good. Jalen Carter could be really good. I think Josh Sweat's kind of an underrated player. Reddick's now gone. So we'll see. They just signed Bryce Huff. So they bring in a more than adequate replacement for him. Linebacker's still kind of an open question. They just got Young in the secondary, but they'll bring Slay back. But they're going to be very young back there.
Yeah.
Who's the leader of that group? I don't know. And then, so I'm not really sure. Then they got this head coaching situation where he doesn't feel like he's a head coach, right?
Correct, yeah.
And then on offense, will Jalen become the unquestioned leader again? That seemed to be at issue last year with them. And now that somebody like Kelsey's gone, which was a glue factor in that locker room, is there going to be a void of that again? Mm-hmm. So I look at them and I go, they picked up Saquon, so they got way better at the running, like dangerous at the running back. They've always been a great running team. Now they have a dangerous running back.
Right.
They signed A.J. Brown, so he's going to be happy, right? Mm-hmm. They signed Devontae Smith. They put their money where their mouth is keeping their guys. They signed one of their offensive linemen, right, or a couple of them. So, they've made everybody happy, calm the waters down. Is there a leadership void there? And maybe that's what I'm grasping at and hoping is the case, because their roster's the best, in my opinion, with some obvious potential flaws. But I think the best of the four teams coming into the season now, off of the defections in Dallas, that the Giants are kind of in neutral, and that I'll get to us. I think we're a wild card here. I look at them post the draft as the best roster in the NFC East with possible problems in the secondary again. And I think what I'm hoping for is there's a leadership void that's a problem that manifested last year and isn't going to be fixed by the things that they've done or papering it over with money. But outside of that, post the draft, I look at them as the team to beat.
Yeah, no, they're still the de facto number one.
Yes.
Their offense is Madden level talented.
Can be. Now remember, this is a new offensive coordinator again.
Sure, right. But it's hard to screw up if all things go to hell handing off to Saquon with that offensive line.
Yes.
Saquon,
no Kelsey. That's a big difference.
Sure. No, I agree, but they still have three top linemen of the game on that offensive line I'm staring at right now.
They had two Hall of Famers on it, Johnson and Kelsey. Now they still have one.
Yep.
And the other guys, they're good at this.
Yes.
Finding offensive linemen.
Correct.
Even when they miss on them, they have a plethora of them.
That's right. Right.
And so they're good there.
And the stat on Saquon that I keep staring at is that he had the worst offensive line push in the league last year, 0.01 yards or something, when he was getting touched, right? So pretty much at the line of scrimmage is when he was getting touched and he was still producing. The Eagles, I think they averaged 3 yards before their running backs were getting touched by anybody.
Yeah.
Him getting that is, they could just make the offense that they would actually be fine. But the fact they have all the skill position players around that now, they have this one of the scarier offenses.
I just, Fletcher Cox left.
Yeah.
Leader.
Defensively, I'm with you. I don't know who you look at to be the guy that digs deep over there. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Fletcher Cox retires. Leader.
Yep.
Jason Kelsey retires. Leader. Mm-hmm. There was clearly a problem there last year. Right. There was a leadership void that occurred.
They couldn't clean it up.
They couldn't figure it out, even though they have the roster that they had. Yeah. And I look on their defense and I go, there are obvious potential playmakers there, but there are spots that should be vulnerable, and they're going to be young on the back end. And if Davis and Carter don't turn into the star players that they think that they're going to be, and they don't provide the type of pressure up front, then I think they can be had on that side of the ball.
Sure.
And then they have this bizarre setup with the head coach who might be the head coach, might not be the head coach. So I think that's what I'm looking at, hoping that that's what takes them down. Because I look at their roster post the draft and post free agency more than anything, and I go, that's the team to beat.
Right. Yeah.
All right, we'll do the other two on the other side. Bram, watch the show, ESPN 630, Sports Capital. All right, let me do the other two teams post the draft, how we kind of feel about where they are now. Dallas, which, boy, do they feel different. They said they were going all in. They didn't. They've made choices. It's to play out. It looks like play out Dak's contract. If they extend him now, it would make no sense. So I think that they're going to play it out with him because he's making like $60 million, and that limited them from a cap perspective. Their staff got raided. Dan Quinn is here. Joe Witt is here. Yep. Bunch of their staff left. Dorrance Armstrong is here. Stephon Gilmore is going to be somewhere else. They lost, a couple of other backups like Dante Fowler, stuff like that I think is probably less of a big deal. I'm glad he's here, but it's probably less of a big deal than losing someone like Armstrong.
Right.
All of a sudden, Tony Pollard's gone. Michael Gallup just signed with the Raiders. He's gone. They're resetting. They lost Tyler Biadasz. They lost Tyron Smith. They didn't lose him. They let him go. This is a very different team. And so then off the draft, they traded down. They picked what looks to be a project tackle. I don't really question them because it often works out for them, but right. Tyler Guyton looks to me, and I was talking to Logan Paulson about him because he was one of the names we were watching as the first round was kind of wrapping up, like, would that be the guy that Washington would go after? And his take on it basically was, I think he's kind of a project, and, I'm not so sure he's a day one starter for them, and he might be a right tackle, not a left tackle, so I'm not so sure that's who they would go after.
Got it. Okay.
So anyway, without Quinn and Witt, and some of the losses on defense, can they replicate the type of game-flipping plays that they've been accustomed to the last few years? I don't know. I don't think the talent is as good on that side of the ball. I think they've been hurt a little bit, albeit I still think between DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs off injury, it's not like they don't have talent. They do. But you don't know how it's going to go with the new coordinator. Mike Zimmer's been out of the league for a couple of years, so they're going to be kind of – McCarthy's on the hot seat. So is Dak. Mm-hmm. Who's their running back?
Right.
Is the receiving core good enough now if they don't have a strong running game because the line is different and they don't have a premier bell cow running back? I don't know. So they're a clear number 2 to Philadelphia, if not a number 3. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
They have a couple of bad, I can't wait to see what their schedule is because this is one of those, if it's stacked up with what looks to be average teams early, they can survive the early storm and maybe have a pretty good record. We'll see how it goes. If they land a schedule that has them play Ravens week 1 and, and Philly week 2, right, and they end up with some kind of crazy schedule, or Niners week 3, where they could be 1-2 or 0-3 or something like that, I think the pressure is going to ramp up on them. I'm not surprised, that the draft didn't really change much for them, but they also didn't do anything that felt like, oh, I see the plan now. So it's all fallen in line with, this is not a reset, but it's a mini reset, and it's a show me year with a worse team than what they had a year ago. I think they're not 12 wins anymore. I think they're kind of 10 wins or under, and that Philly has leapt ahead of them again right now.
The only thing is they weathered the storm last year. That offense was really good, and they lost a few pieces, but not the major pieces. Like, they still have Dak, they still have Lamb. Yes, their running game is questionable, but would you put it past them to figure that out, though? I wouldn't, actually.
Their line is different, though, this time.
Right.
That's the other part of it. Like, their center's gone, their left tackle's gone. I know they were getting younger at that spot anyway.
Right.
Who's the number 1 running back there? It's not Zeke. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying we did this last year with them. That's why I'm hesitant to kind of call it on them. Like, we said last year, oh yeah, they're not adding anything. They're hitting the reset button. They traded Cooper for nothing. Like, I don't know. They did it last year by hitting a slight reset, and they were fine. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. They're probably not 12 wins. I still wouldn't be shocked if they won 10 or even 11 wins.
Maybe. I think it's going to be 10 or under. Just looking at how everything kind of reset on them, and you know what the pressure is, and then when they start getting laughed at, it might be a little different this year.
Maybe.
So as for Washington, we're going to be a massive wild card. Like, I don't think any of us really know. The defense is going to be reset. It was historically terrible last year, so for a lot of reasons. It can't possibly be that bad again, right? Like, it just can't be.
with the new defensive coordinator and a defensive head coach, I would hope not.
No, and then you brought in, like, Frankie Louvu's an upgrade at line, like a massive upgrade at linebacker for them. Bobby Wagner, let's see what's in the tank. But like, this is it's a Hall of Famer, so this is a pro. Jeremy Chin, let's see what's there. We don't know. Like, but it's just a 1-year deal. We'll find out. Like, this Johnny Newton thing, I think, alters the dynamic of how they use Payne and Allen. Mm-hmm. Do they get a little more time off? Do they not have to rely on them as much? Do they put all three of them out there at the same time? Who's kind of the end in that scenario? So I don't really totally know. Now that they pick Sanistril, well, I guess Quan Martin might not actually be the slot corner. He might be more the movable part safety. There's a lot of weird options here. And so on defense, I expect them to be better because Quinn and Witt, I assume, will make them better. 2, there's not all the, the rigmarole of what was going on last year, so I think everybody's going to be in a different headspace. It's a very different team. And so on that side of the ball, I don't know what to expect, but I don't expect terrible, which is what it was a year ago. On the other side, I love the running back room suddenly. Eckler's experience along with B-Rob, and then we'll see who the third running back may be. I still think we're in the market for maybe another receiver, but we're not devoid of talent there. Terry and Jahan are very good players, but I think one more would make a little bit of sense. The tight end was addressed. They got the young guy they were looking for to play behind Ertz. They have Bates. Rodgers, we'll see. And then the big question mark, of course, is the offensive line. I don't think they're going to stand pat here. I believe they will go get a veteran tight end one way or the other, whether unlikely a trade, maybe a surprising cut in the spring or early summer like Charles Leno was a couple of years ago, or they just pick somebody up. I don't think they're going to stand pat. I do think their plan to fulfill that just didn't happen.
Right.
And so they checked a lot of boxes, but not all of them, obviously. So I think something's going to happen there. But the biggest thing that is hanging for us is if Jaden Daniels has a start to his career like C.J. Stroud, it's just hard to know what we're going to be. And if he doesn't, and he looks like a rookie, exciting, but looks like a rookie, then we're probably hovering in that 500 range.
Right.
And it's probably not as good as somebody who seems more ready right now to win like the Eagles or potentially Dallas, who's at least very experienced at quarterback this year. So I got us in the anywhere range, but we're a wild card. And even after the draft, I think the team did a really good job checking a lot of boxes, using the capital to the way that they did. We're not a complete roster. Nobody really is, but we're really not. And at a pivotal spot, left tackle, there's an open question mark.
That's right.
So I'm sitting here post the draft going, I like what they're doing. I like what they're building. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm hoping Jaden comes out of the gates like Stroud did. And if he did, then we may surprise some people and be vying for a wild card, not unlike the way the Texans were vying for their division. I did have some people say to me, why does it always have to be a couple years? Look what the Texans did. You have to also understand, Indianapolis was in a reset year with a rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. Tennessee was in a reset year with what would end up being a rookie quarterback and a different roster. And Jacksonville was a disappointment. So they landed in the right place, right time. Not only did those guys play really well as rookies, but they landed at the right place, right time to have this happen. For us to pull off a Texans thing, we need Philadelphia to nosedive for some reason.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't project them winning 7 games.
Right. Yeah, neither do I.
That's what Jacksonville, they opened the door for it to happen. Dallas and Philly both being bad next year is not something I would foresee. So I hope that we're ahead of the curve, and I hope he's ahead of the curve, and I hope we're vying for the playoffs. But to project a Houston outcome, I think, is a little much even after the draft.
Their opponent schedule's brutal.
Yes,
too.
it is.
It's not like
we're playing in Baltimore next year.
Was it last year? On paper, it looked easier, and it wasn't. This year, yeah, it's here. Just to run through them real quick. They get the Falcons, Panthers, Bears, Browns at home.
Yeah.
I mean, those could all go either way.
Correct. Those are hard to play. The Falcons are way better than they were a year ago. The Browns were a playoff team a year ago. The Bears are a way different team than they were a year ago.
You want to pencil in the Panthers, I guess, if you want to. But even then, we know how it went. Then you get the NFC East opponent. Then the extra opponent is the Steelers at home. I mean,
that's right.
That's
tough.
hard. Then you get the Titans, who improved, but probably one of the quote-unquote easier ones.
Correct.
Their away schedule is brutal. At Arizona, at Baltimore,
Yep.
at Cincinnati,
Yes.
Dallas Giants, Eagles, at the Saints,
Yes.
at the Buccaneers. I mean, that is
as
brutal as it comes on paper. Of course, we all know things
gonna be
change,
hard.
but that is a tough schedule. There's not any kind of softies on there except
100%.
Panthers, essentially, at home. I think that's the one you could call, and I'm not even going to call it a win, but you get an inferior opponent at home. You should win that one.
In the end, it involves Jaden getting off to a really good start to his career.
Right.
Otherwise, I think we are a year behind a couple of these other teams, but the baseline is there and things look good.
That Caleb Williams game is that's got to be prime time, right? I mean,
I'd actually love week 1. That'd be
a 1:00 game though here, unless they do a Sunday nighter. But I feel like you got to showcase the top. The
could
1
be
and 2
Monday night
pick.
doubleheader.
Could be Monday night.
Part of the Monday night doubleheader.
Bears on primetime at night at FedEx Field. What could go wrong?
Yeah, we always do that. Final score 12-7. Al's pissed. All right, let's see. O's, Yankees game 3. They've already won the first 2. Nats, Texas tonight after they finally lost after the sweep with the Marlins. They get the Rangers again. Yep. Hockey's got Vegas and Dallas 2-2. Edmonton can close out the Kings tonight. They're up 3-1. Miami is at Boston. The Celtics can close out the Heat tonight, up 3-1. Dallas Clippers 2-2. No Kawhi again. Kawhi again. Exactly. I don't know how that series is 2-2 with all those injuries that they've had.
Do I?
All right, everybody. We'll be late tomorrow because the Orioles have their finale against the Yankees starts at 1 o'clock. So we'll probably be on around 4 tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bram, what's the show? ESPN 630 Sports Capital.